Hey guys, this is Jason David Frank, and you are listening to Primo Nutmeg. Interesting podcast for interesting people. That's right, Green Ranger time.
Let's go. Camouflage.
Matty G.
Dope Spliffer. CPR. Yeah. First off, I go by camouflage. If you've never seen me, then get your camera. Hey, she says she love it from behind, so in her bedroom, I tell her chick it's morphin' time. Zordon, I'm in a spaceship whip, shift the fifth, and I dip up on you morons. Swagged up with something you can't afford on, so you know I'm getting faced. Zordon, White Ranger, hella cool. She said she wants a Black Ranger with a sword flu. Any track I'm on is definitely blasted on. I pass it on right after I stomp it like a mastodon. Ooh, gnarly, but radical with a chick that's flyer than a pink pterodactyl. I'm too ill, I don't know why guys try. When I jerk, all the haters go, aye, aye, aye. PlayStation and my cell phone, it's crazy. Page me. And my homie smoking.
Hey folks, welcome to a very special edition of Primo Nutmeg. You were just listening to a song called Power Rangers by the artist Camouflage, and as that song suggests, on today's show we have a childhood hero of mine, the Green Ranger, Jason David Frank. We are going to discuss Jason's acting career, as well as his open challenge to fight CM Punk. By the way, just a reminder, please do check out our new website, www.primonutmeg.com, and subscribe to Primo Nutmeg on YouTube, SoundCloud, and iTunes. Hope you enjoy the show. Well, Jason David Frank, welcome to Primo Nutmeg.
Well, thanks for having me, buddy. I appreciate it.
So, Power Rangers is back on everybody's mind. There's a new movie coming out, and there's been a lot of talk of a possible cameo appearance that you might be in the movie. So, obviously, that has to be my first question for you. Are you in the movie? Could you talk about it? Can you not talk about it? Or what's your relationship with Saban?
You know, the movies, I mean, to be honest, man, the whole script and everything is just like a top secret thing. I mean, I have to wait to see it myself, March 24th, in theaters. So I think we'll all have to wait and see what happens then. But until then, the world is left hanging, thinking, how is this movie going to be? Including myself, trust me. I get questions asked all the time, and, you know, it's so secretive, the script and everything. So we'll see. I mean, it's coming soon. You know, it was killing me a year ago, but it's coming soon, so we'll wait and see.
Awesome. Well, you know, there's a lot I would like to ask you about. You have so many different projects and have done so many interesting things, but the reason that I know you is because you were a childhood hero of mine. You were Tommy Oliver, the Green Ranger on the Power Rangers. And I just want to ask you, what was that like getting involved in that show back then? How did you get involved? Because I actually read that you originally had auditioned for the role of Jason, the Red Ranger. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. No, I'm glad you asked today, because today has been a rush of memories. I've been putting pictures together and footage and everything for Saban, because there was a lot of pictures they had that was lost in between the sale between them and Disney. And then when they got it back, they actually lost almost everything. So they're asking me to, you know, give pictures. So I was going back and memorizing all this stuff and looking at everything. And it was already casted. What I did is I had a script that was Walter Jones, which was the Black Ranger. So I read his script just to see if I can act. It really didn't make anything to do with Tommy or anything. So when I originally got called, it was called Phantoms. So I don't know. Back then I had a script that was called Phantoms, and then it was Power Rangers, and nobody knew what Power Rangers was anyway, including myself. But they kind of created Tommy, and I've just been looking at, newspapers and everything. And, you know, it's back then I did a little thing in a mall, and I just read headlines that said Santa Claus 20, Tommy 5,000. I drew there was 20 people in line waiting for Santa Claus, and I had 5,000 people. So going through all these memories and seeing stuff, those kids are now growing up now, and the fan base is still there. It's just they're not kids anymore. You know, they're adults anywhere from, well, I have kids too, but but anywhere from 23 to 35 is that average.
Right.
Whoa, you're the Green Ranger, and then of course I got the little kids too. So, but it was definitely fun to do, and it was just I auditioned for it. I was a national rated competitor in martial arts, and then I said, man, this audition's perfect. It's just something right up my alley. So I went in there, read the script, did some karate, and literally I got the job the next day. I had to help some Yellow Rangers. They recasted the Yellow Rangers, so I helped Twee kind of get her little martial arts form and kind of favored her a little bit, and then she went in there and got the role.
That's awesome. Now, originally the Green Ranger was a villain, and then you turned into a good guy, into a hero, and became the White Ranger. Now, originally, was the character supposed to be written off? Was it just a short-term thing? And then, from my understanding, was that the fans loved you so much that they kept you on and turned you into a good guy.
Pretty much. I mean, that's the way it went. It's, I was hired for 10 episodes. I just looked into go through some stuff too, and I found a lot of magazines where they were releasing Cybertron, which was VR Troop. So they used me as the Green Ranger, and then my character became really popular. So then they spun me into my own show called Cybertron, which was actually VR Troopers. So we sold that pretty much worldwide. And then the White Ranger came. So it was either, what am I going to do? Going to do the show? Or it was their decision as well. And they just decided to bring me back, which is great, as the White Ranger. But yeah, definitely people freaked out. Kids were really honestly, not going to school, not eating. There was a petition pretty much around the world, so Fox was a bit concerned, and brought me back to the show, which is good. But for me, I was just there to do the job the best I could. I loved reaching out to kids and parks, and it just became my role.
So you were in the original Power Rangers movie that came out, I believe it was 95. Could you talk about how that was different than the show? Because, just watching that as a kid, it seemed like almost a totally different universe. Can you talk about the experience of doing the movie?
Yeah, the movie is definitely, any time a studio picks up a show, for a movie, definitely going to put a lot of money into it. Like this next Power Ranger movie is about $160 million into it. So going from a TV show into a movie set, is everything is bigger and grander and like that wow factor, So we had to create suits that were like, wow, cool. And even though they were heavy and they weighed like 50 pounds in the Power Ranger suits, they look cool. Nowadays we can build, better suits that are less, lighter. But working on set was big. It was a real slow pace. We shot the show really fast. We shot about 2 episodes a week. So constantly just moving and moving and moving. And the movie was about 1 page a day, which was, if you have 1 line or 2 lines, that's what you got all day long. So there's a lot of waiting around, a lot of confusion. They get confused with the Power Ranger brand. They want to take the visors out, and they want to not put them in. And so there's a lot of controversy on set. And Saban did a really good job of, damage controlling so a studio doesn't tear it apart.
Right.
And it was great. It was a big budget, and we were down in Australia for, I don't know, 3 to 6 months. I don't remember now, but it was a good experience.
Must have been fun.
It was a huge movie. Yeah, it was fun.
So
the CGI was a little different.
Yeah, it was. Maybe that's one of the things that really, I guess, impressed me, or that I was surprised by back then.
Yeah.
But you actually recently put on the suit again in something, or a couple of different shorts that were on the internet by Bat in the Sun, where you were the White Ranger and then the Green Ranger. One of them, as the White Ranger, you were fighting Scorpion, and then I believe you also were fighting Ryu in one of them as well, right?
Yep, we did Bat in the Sun. Aaron, talented director. He started doing short films with Batman a long time ago. And so he contacted me, and I just said, hey, sure, man. I love his work. Wanted to do something for the fans. Did the, Super Mega Force that wasn't that great as fighting, so we kind of made it up. We made up for it doing the Green Ranger versus Ryu, and White Ranger versus Scorpion is very popular. 14, 15 million views. And in fact, when people see me, they're like, I saw White Scorpion. So the branding on that has been great. And that's why, we're doing a new TV show with Valiant. I play a character named Bloodshot.
Yeah,
that's how
I
that
heard
whole
about
thing
that.
came.
That seems
Aaron,
That's awesome.
Yep, Aaron got picked up as the director of it, and then he's the director, and he's basically saying, hey, this dude's perfect for Bloodshot. And then again, Bloodshot was kind of like Tommy, very few episodes, very limited, and now they wrote me in the whole entire series because Bloodshot is a very popular character, just like how Tommy was. So I took the role knowing that I was only in a few episodes, knowing that either I was going to get killed or frozen or whatever it is, and now the fans love it, and Bloodshot's been like super popular of the series, and it's not even out yet. So I'm very excited about that.
That's awesome. It is a great character, and I think it is a perfect role for you. So I can't wait to see that.
Yep.
I know that we're short on time. The last thing that I did want to ask you about is, I'm an MMA fan. You are a mixed martial artist, and that you've had a series of fights. Are you going to be fighting again, professionally, or are you going to have fights? I know that you had talked about possibly fighting CM Punk, which I know a lot of fans out there would love to see.
They would love it. I mean, if Punk fights again, everybody at the banks, everybody that owns UFC wants me to fight him. So,
absolutely,
if he fights again, that's definitely something I would like to do. And man, I got a chance to visit, some of the WWE guys on their shows and seeing backstage. It's much like, UFC. I'm not talking about the fighting, but the energy everyone puts into the show. So one way or another, I'd love to either get involved with WWE or UFC just to please the fans. For me, I've been fighting my whole entire life. I can do it tomorrow if I want. I love it. It just has to make sense why we're doing it.
Right.
And it has to, and what I mean by makes sense is not a financial sense, because I'd fight CM Punk for $1. I would do, a Power Ranger movie for nothing. I'm not financially hurt. What I'm saying is if it makes sense for my fan base. Do my fans say, yes, that's what I want to see him? Yes, I like to see him in Bloodshot. Oh, I don't like that terrible he did. So I always like going back to the fans thinking, is this something they want? Because if it is, I'll do it. And it's not about money at all. And that's what I mean about making sense. For CM Punk, for him, it makes sense on a financial level, but I'm super different than most of these people out there. And that's the truth. Like, I don't care about the money. That's what I said from day one. I would fight him for $1 just to make the contract legal. And I think that installs so much confidence in me that's what scares him, is like, why does this guy want to fight me for $1? I'm going to get my butt kicked. And that's kind of what happened, to be honest.
Is there any specific reason that you challenged him in particular?
No, not at all. I thought the fan base was great. I never thought he would fight in the UFC. I got a deal a long time ago with me and him on an NBC show. My manager was pushing every show here at Legacy, wanted to fight Punk on Legacy, and Mick actually is the matchmaker now for UFC. So everybody wanted to see this fight, and I picked him because I like the guy. I picked him because I said, man, he's got a huge fan base, and he wants to fight. I don't want to pick a guy who doesn't want to fight and convince them he wants to fight. So I said, hey, that's perfect. Perfect. He's 38. I don't care. I'm 43. It's like, who cares? If he sits there and calls me an old man, well, you're getting old too, buddy. So, I never thought he would be in the UFC because the UFC strives for perfection. Like, there's so many people that fight to get into the UFC. Out of like 600 UFC fighters, CM Punk is listed at like 170 top paid UFC fighter with only one fight. Now you got, 3, 4, 5, 600 people that are struggling, that are really good fighters that, could use the money or earn the money. And so I was just thinking, fan base loves it. All these things started coming out, and then I talked to him about it, and he's like, yeah. And then he started saying he's a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, and then I started believing him, and then all this stuff started coming out, thinking, I don't know if he's just saying that to impress me at the time, or he actually never thought this could possibly ever happen with us. And it was very possible. But I like the guy. I like CM Punk. I just like to show the world who is the best in the world, and that's why me and him should fight, to say who is best in the world, to own that slogan. I know WWE owns it, but I'm just saying.
Well, I agree with you. As a UFC fan, I would love to see that fight. I know CM Punk is looking for another fight, so I think that would be a real big moneymaker. I know that a lot of people would love to see it, so hopefully that does happen. Yeah. And, as a WWE fan as well, I would love to see you in there. Is there anybody in WWE that you would like to work with in particular?
Oh, man, I love, like, everybody in there. I work on so many shows with these guys. I've done so many Comic-Cons, and I got to tell you, man, they treated me so great at the Royal Rumble. I talked to all of them, and I think that world's a little different. I don't think it's like a challenge thing. I think just be a part of the WWE and then seeing where that goes from there. But, you know, Sheamus took his time out talking to me, like, you know, Bella Twins, everybody just, they're over there. And the cool thing is that it's endless with what you do over there. I, you know, saw, you know, Creed and a bunch of other people that were over there that were really nice to me, and they were big fans as well. So in the UFC world, back up a little bit, is that I think everyone strives to be in this UFC, and to get there with no fights, no fight experience, and a real high-paid fighter more than anyone made a lot of people upset, and I think that's why he got so much hatred from it. Now, if he pulled a hell of a fight off, be worth the money, it would be great. But it was all hype, and I got to say, I did a lot of that hyping for him. It was me and him. I was calling Fox Sports. You know, Joe Silva, the matchmaker, said it could possibly happen. My manager, even Dana White, told some of my friends this is why. So I pushed it really hard, thinking I was going to get it, and I didn't. And some people are like, "Oh, you know, whatever they say." It just was a fun thing to bring those universes together. Now, Power Rangers audience is going to be bigger than ever. I mean, I like to explain when I work with Shatner a lot. And I like to explain that I guess I'm the Shatner of Power Rangers, because he's the Shatner of Star Trek. No matter where you go, it's like William Shatner, you know? So I've embraced who I was from day one. You know, I'm looking at all these old pictures, and I haven't changed at all. I take time out to do interviews. And for you guys to do an interview, regardless of who you are and what you do, I don't ask how many followers this person have. I treat every interview equal, and I treat it the same. And that's how I got into Bat in the Sun. I didn't Google him. I didn't look at his things. I was like, hey, he's cool, I'll help him. You know, thinking that maybe he has very small base. And then I started looking, going, damn, this guy's got like millions of views, and his work is really good. So I committed to it first. And then I looked at his work, and then I just had that gut feeling, you know. So without people like you guys, it wouldn't push me to that next limit. And now with the movie coming out, it's just, everybody thinks Power Rangers, think, oh, JDF, Green Ranger, and it's great. It's a good feeling to feel that. But I've also worked so hard in the last 25 years to embrace who I was and try to give to everything I could to my fans, to the people at interviews. And just by looking at these pictures and everything, man, I was doing the same thing I'm doing right now I was 20 years ago and 25 years ago. I've always been that guy to go, hey, I'll do the interviews. Let me share my story with the world. You know, so I can inspire other people by listening to me and believing that they can do anything they want to do. Because look, nobody believed in Power Rangers. Nobody. I was reading articles upstairs that was saying, well, it's funny because it said, where will Power Rangers go? Question mark. And if you look at that years ago, they were saying we're basically going downhill. Look what they're embracing for the movie. Go. That's how powerful Go Power Rangers is. They're using that catchphrase, go, now for a $160 million movie.
Absolutely.
When this guy's writing an article thinking that we're pretty much washed up and how far are we going to go? Well, that answered his question. I thought it was pretty cool.
Well, like you said, you did inspire a generation of fans, and you know, here we are over 20 years later talking about it and having this new movie come out. So it is pretty amazing. And, you know, you are, like you said, you have a great relationship with the fans. I know that you're very active on social media. And by the way, where can all the listeners, where would you prefer that they follow you? I know that you're on Instagram, you're on Twitter, you're on Facebook.
Yeah, man, I'm a big Instagram guy, but I do connect to all my social media engines. It is JDFFFN, and that stands for Jason David Frank Fearless Frank Nation. A long time ago we did that. I don't talk about it, but it's JDFFN, and those are all my social media platforms. And then Facebook, I only have one, which is Jason David Frank Official Fan Page. But I'm a pretty active user on Instagram, and it does connect to all the pages. But I've been a huge Instagram fan years ago, before people even knew what Instagram was. So, you know, I like to be on there and do the Facebook Live, of course, too, and the Instagram Live, and it just gets addicting for me too. And I know the fans love it when I talk, so it's just kind of like it feeds both of our addictions, which is fun. So, and it's safe, you know. I mean, I want to talk about having an addiction. Hey, if I'm addicted to social media, I don't drink and do all the other stuff, then that's a good thing for me.
Absolutely. Well, Jason David Frank, I really do appreciate you being on Primo Nutmeg today. By the way, do you have any big Comic-Con appearances coming up anytime soon?
Yeah, February I have Pensacola with pretty soon, and then I'll be in New York in March. I'm going to be in Scotland. I mean, I'm pretty much have about 20 or shows this year.
Awesome.
I'll be at Emerald City Comic Con, which is in March, and Emerald City is going to be special because I'm doing big promos for Valiant for the new TV show Ninjak versus the Valiant Universe, and then I'm doing stuff for the con as well. So I get to kind of give stuff out, like we have exclusive stuff that we're doing, just free stuff. I love doing that because everyone rushes and tries to get these collectible things, so it's a lot of fun doing that.
Awesome. Well, again, on behalf of all the fans, we do appreciate you going out to the events and being such an open person, and thank you again for everything.
Yep.
Being out there for us.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it.
All right, well, thank you for being on the show, Jason,
right,
David,
man.
Frank. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this edition of Primo Nutmeg. If you did enjoy this show, please do check out primonutmeg.com. Also, subscribe to us on YouTube, SoundCloud, and iTunes. There you can see other shows that we have done with Jake the Snake Roberts, Jill Stein, John McAfee, and Noam Chomsky. Thanks again for listening, and this is Steve reminding you to stay primo.
In disguise, if you didn't know before, now I hope you realize when the world's in danger, there's 2 girls and 3 guys of every color that keep evildoers in line. When the going gets rough, we call our swords and unite, ready at any time to defend, stand our ground and fight to the end. Heed the call, just let us know when. We'll be there at a moment's notice when the signal is sent.
I got my whole team with me and we about to get busy, so I tell them get ready, let's. And we killing these shows and we killing these hoes, gotta get that dough, let's.